thank you, Father, because what was, it is now. Father, you send forth your warning, that we may take heed to your word, Father, for your word is true. And you would like us to walk in the truth as you are the truth. Father, we thank you for your wisdom, your knowledge, and understanding, and how you sent forth your spirit into our hearts that we may cry, Abba, Father. Father, that we may walk with you in spirit and in truth. For this is the day that you have made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
And also pray and ask in Shai's name that you
Father,
please
for you
watch over
said,
Jesse
blessed
and
are those who walk
her
not
mother,
in the
Miss Lita,
counsel of the
that they will be
ungodly,
able
nor
to be
stand in the way of sinners,
cared
nor
for, take
sit in
care
the
of,
seat of the scornful.
from top of head down to tip of toes,
But
so
our
their hands to
delight
their
shall
feet,
be in
that they
the
will not get
Torah
that
of the
Zika
Most
virus or any kind
High.
of
And
virus
it
that's
is
out there.
your Torah, Father,
They will be
will
fine.
we
Yeshua is my
meditate
prayer.
day and night. We want to be like the tree that is
You watch over
planted by
both
the
of them.
rivers of living water that will
As where
bring
they're at right
forth
now,
our
Yeshua
fruit
is my prayer
in
that
due season.
nothing will come against them.
For the
Yeshua is my
ungodly
prayer.
are not
Amen.
so.
Amen.
But Father, you are making a separation between those who are hearers and doers of your word. Father, we want to please you in all that we do and say. For we know the time is short. You are calling those that you have chosen out from amongst them to be separate, to walk in holiness and godliness for your name's sake. So, Father, teach us your ways. Keep us, Father, from all hurt, harm, and danger. Show us the path of righteousness for your name's sake. Father, we give you glory, we give you honor and praise. We ask, Father, that you would send forth your word today through your vessel, Father. Make it plain, Father, that we may write it, Father, and run with it. Father, so we give you glory, we give you honor, and we give you praise. We know many are called, but few choose to come. Father, when you call, let us be the ones among others that will come and answer your call. Walk in obedience to your word. In Yeshua's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Verse 9, because we were talking about a we will pay if we don't do what the Most High say. Isaiah chapter 24, starting at verse 1. Behold, Ahijah maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priests. Y'all see that? As with the servant, so with his master. As with the maid, so with her mistress. As with a buyer, so with the seller. As with the lender, so with the borrower. As with the taker of interest, so with the giver of interest to him. The land shall be utterly empty and utterly spoiled. For Ahiah has spoken this word. The earth mourneth. Y'all see that? The earth is mourning. Is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws. Whose laws? Father's laws. Changed the ordinance. Broken the everlasting covenant. You see that? People have broken the everlasting. That's what I read.
Isaiah
That's
chapter
what y'all didn't
24.
hear. What you didn't hear was Isaiah 24. But I'll post everything today. I already discovered that the heart is what? Desperately wicked. Right? So the heart of man, before it is turned over to the Most High, is deceitful and wicked. And the heart, after Father has written his law on it, is different. That's why he said when you're born again, you are a new creature. Then when we look at Jeremiah 17 and 10, it says, higher, search the heart. It says, I tried the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doing. Father say, I searched the heart. Right? Because he's looking for what? The sin of man, right? Y'all remember Jeremiah 17? What did it say? What did it start off saying? The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altar. While their children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills. O my mountain in the field, I will give your substance and all your treasures to the spoil, and your high places for sin throughout all your waters. And you even shall discontinue from your heritage that I give you, and I will cause you to serve your enemies in the land which you know not. For you have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. See, he's searching the heart, and he's telling us what he finds, and he's going to give us what? According to the fruit of what? Our doing. Whether it's good or evil, but in this case, Judah was found evil, wasn't it? And they didn't have no heart of flesh, but they had a heart of stone. So they was not what? See, when you have a heart of stone, you disqualify yourself from being a part of the new covenant. Unless you repent. So he can take the heart of stone out where all that sin is written on it and give you what? His covenant that he writes on your heart. On the new heart. Y'all see that? Look at verse 5. Let me show you what I'm saying. Thus says Ahiah, Cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his own, whose heart departed from a higher. See, what is he saying? When you put your trust in man, that means that the more trust you got in man, that the farther away from him you're going to be.
Booyah.
What did welfare do? It caused people to depend on the government, man, and not on the Most High. Didn't it?
True.
Hasn't it? And now, man that gave it is now starting to put more restrictions on the ones he gave it to. So now you gotta go work, get a job in order to receive this. Y'all see that?
Literally.
Oh yeah.
Unless you have SSDI.
Man,
how are you gonna do that?
Man, take it away. What we got to understand and remember is that a higher is the final judge, and he renders his judgments according to your work. Let's go to Revelations, chapter 20. Let's look at start at verse number 11. Paul said, Apostle John said, and I saw a great white throne and him that sat on it, whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for him. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before a higher, and the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life, and the dead were judged out of those things which was written in the books according to their works.
And people take that out of context.
Y'all see that?
Context.
And the sea gave up the dead which was in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Huh? Before I start talking, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 3. 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse number 3. Talk no more so exceedingly proudly. Let not arrogance come out of your mouth, for a higher is this Elohim of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. What do he do? He weighs everything we do, everything we say. We got to give an account of it to him.
Our actions speak louder than our words.
See? And think about it. Remember, what did he tell us? What our heart is. What's in our heart is what we are. So don't he say he searched the heart?
That's true. And if
so
you
he
really
gonna judge your heart, which is you, because you are your heart.
Right, and if you keep the Sabbath, that means
what your heart is you.
The Father
and
will
he's
see
gonna
that.
judge you. Because your heart is gonna determine what you do, isn't it?
Right.
Because everything we do out of the abundance of our heart, right?
That's
Everything
right.
come out of our mouths came from our heart first. He said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Yep. And the abundance of the heart, the body does too. Literally.
We are what our heart is. Say it. We are what our heart is. Write it
We are
down
what our
about
heart is.
2 or 3 times.
We are
Say
what
it.
our heart
We
is.
are what our heart is. And what our heart is going to determine our actions, and He's going to judge our actions.
So my heart is wanting to keep the Sabbath.
Because
This is
Ahia
what I'm
knows
doing
the
right now.
thoughts and intents of our heart.
Keeping the Sabbath. For those that don't understand what that means.
See? Then why, what did Yeshaya say?
The God reads the
Didn't
intentions
look
of our
on
hearts. Well, He reads your
somebody,
heart and you don't keep the Sabbath.
and you
That
got lust
means
in your
your
heart,
heart, you don't care about it.
then you committed
That's what it means.
adultery already where? In your heart.
And the
Because the
Father can see
actions
that.
you wanted to take, or the actions you want to take, is there. You done everything except for the physical act.
That's why when people
But
say
it's in your heart.
actions speak louder
You do
than
it.
words, well,
It's there. It's there.
your actions
Why do
ain't
people
showing it,
steal? Because it was in their heart.
right? God can read
Why do
the
people
intents of your
murder?
heart.
It's in
What
their
is your
heart.
action then?
Because the intentions of our heart are the same as if we had committed the act, whether it was a sin or whether it was a good deed. The intentions of our heart are the same as if we have committed the act. That's why He said, I know your thoughts and I know your intentions. Sometimes we got some self-control and we don't do everything that our little heart wants us to do, right or wrong.
Right.
But we had some intentions on doing. What am I doing? I'm trying to help us to repent more. Because I thought about it, I need to what? Repent about that, right? Pulling down every stronghold and imagination that exalts itself against who? The Most High. Come on, work with me. This is why our heart that has to be washed in the blood of the Lamb, don't it? So it can be clean, so it can be pure, so we can live holy. So we can have some holy thoughts. Father is looking for pure, clean hearts.
Not a kind heart.
Ain't that what we read in Psalm 24? He that have clean hands and a pure heart. Pure means ain't no sin in it. Ain't no contamination in it. It ain't mixed with truth and a lie. Who have not lifted up his soul unto vanity nor sworn deceitfully. So that means your heart will produce what? Good thing. We're in Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 11, and it says, as the partridge sitteth on eggs and hatches them not, so he that getteth riches and not by right shall lead them in the midst of his days, and his end shall be a fool. Y'all know the person that ate an apple, you know he left his children nothing. He had billions of dollars, but he didn't leave them anything. He didn't give them nothing. And guess what? Didn't he get fired from his own company? Ain't got nothing else to say. As the partridge, what is that referring to?
Wait, how can you get fired from your own
Something
company?
that
you own.
You done invaded some other nest.
Weird.
And you sitting on something else's nest and not your own nest.
Oh, that's right. I kind of couldn't answer my own question, but I
Because
don't feel like
what was
answering
supposed to be there was forced to leave before the eggs hatched. Huh? So what am I saying? A person who unjustly took possession of things he had no right to take and couldn't enjoy the benefits despite all their efforts. Huh? People going in, taking over folks' house, we call them squatters.
Squatter.
No right. It wasn't yours. You just went in and took it over.
Oh.
Or you killed the person and you tried to assume their identity. Identity fraud. That's a big thing today, aren't they? Identity fraud.
Yep.
You are unjustly taking possession of things you have no right. Think about this. The bird that sit on some other kind of bird's egg, and when the egg hatched, that which is hatched recognizes that another type of bird had been sitting on the egg. And what they say, you ain't my mama. When parents do not teach their children right at home and they send them to the school, and then the teacher get on them, the first thing they holler, you ain't my mama.
Literally. That's the first thing.
I didn't come out you. What right you gotta have to tell me what to do? So a man's ill-gotten gain will leave him, and he will be shown to be a fool.
Oh, the reasons why they got the right to tell you what to do?
People,
Because
having
your
a lot of
parents
people
are paying them to do that.
stole and gotten rich off of other people. Father gonna get them.
I mean, that's literally all your parents got to say, because we're paying them to do so.
Father is going to get them.
We're paying them to teach you, to take
See?
care of your ass at school.
When people accumulate riches from dishonest ways, it disappears, so they have to keep what? Stealing. To keep their status quo. Think about it. People are gaining great wealth on this earth from doing evil practices, and they think they're getting away with it. But the Most High is going to repay them, isn't it? Because they're going to die, aren't they? And when they die, where you go? You go stand before the Bema seat, before the judgment seat, and you got to give an account for the Most High for everything you done done. Then the books open, and then another book was open, which is the book of life. If your name ain't in the book of life, you're going to the lake of fire with death and hell. So that's telling you that death and hell is not a place only, is it? It's a being. Oh. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse number 12 say this. A glorious high throne from the beginning is the place of our sanctuary. It's saying what? Father, your throne, your place, your hope are higher. Everybody is forsaking you. Jeremiah begins to express his own trust in the Most High and confidence that divine justice will finally be vindicated by the punishment of wicked. Of the wicked, because he's going to get them, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Because he says the throne of glory is equivalent to him who is enthroned in glory. Because there's a whole lot of people been put in jail for stuff they didn't do. But Jeremiah is saying, Father, your throne is the highest place. The throne of a higher is in heaven. The eventual sanctuary for all who believe. But what is Father going to do? He got a new heaven and a new earth where he's going to have all his folks in with him. Where ain't going to be no sin. And we don't know nothing about that. Nobody doing wrong. think about this. Everybody wants to go to heaven. But when you say you want to go to heaven, what does that mean? Because it don't mean the same thing to everybody. You know why? Because isn't the earth in heaven? So if the earth is in heaven and you own the earth or in the earth, aren't you in heaven? Uh-oh. Because there's more than one heaven, isn't it?
That's true. There is about 7 to 9 different heavens.
Because the earth is in heaven. All the other planets are in heaven.
Yeah.
The sun, the moon, the stars is in a heaven, aren't they? But Father abides above that, doesn't he?
Yes.
And above that is the new heaven and the new earth, isn't it?
Yes.
Verse number 13 of Jeremiah 17. O Ahai, the hope of Israel, all that forsake you shall be ashamed. Uh-oh. See, when you say all those that forsake you, that means deny him, because that's forsaking him, shall be ashamed. And they that depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken Ahai, the fountain of living waters. All that forsake the Most High will be ashamed. Those who forsake his law, who deny that he exists, first or last, will be ashamed of their disobedience. It don't matter if they was the first one, or if they the last one, or if they the dash, all them in the middle, from the beginning to the end. All of them gonna be ashamed of their evil disobedience to the Most High. Oh, let me read this one. That's a good one. John chapter number 8 and verse 6. Think about it, because Yeshua didn't do stuff for no reason.
Nice.
Now, when Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned, but what says you? What are we talking about? Oh, verse number 4. They say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. Wait a minute. How can a woman be taken in the act of adultery if there's no man? Who was she with? If she was with herself, she wasn't in the act of no adultery.
Facts.
Did they ever bring up a man? So she couldn't have been taken in the very act. They lied. They said this, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. But Yeshua stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground as though he heard them not. But what was he really doing when he stooped down? He began to write their name in the earth. Because they was liars. They was after they fathered the devil. And did we just read that scripture? Mm-hmm. That their name would be written in the earth that forsook him?
Literally.
Oh, y'all hear me? So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at him. Now, didn't he challenge them? Now, who threw a stone? Nobody did throw no stone, did they? Why? Because they all had sin in them, and they knew they had sin in them. And they didn't even repent, did they?
Nope.
And again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the oldest until the last. And Yeshua was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. And when Yeshua had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, He said unto her, Woman, where are your accusers? Has no one condemned you? She said, No man, master. And Yeshua said unto her, Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. What did he tell her to do?
Go and sin no more.
Go and sin no more. See? Are you hearing me? Now look at 1 Corinthians 15. Let's look at verse 35. But some man will say, How are the dead raised up? And with what body do they come? You fool! That which you soweth is not quickened except it die. And that which you soweth not that body.